Welcome back. Lots of you already reacting to Nimrod Taabu's feature, Patience of Patience. Let me read one tweet here before we take you to part 2. Moses Mwangi, you say, too bad that a good healthcare scheme remains elusive. Just when will healthcare be given the attention it deserves in this country? Keep your comments coming. The hashtag is Patience of Patience. Here's part 2.
I am off to a rural homestead belonging to an elderly woman in the county of Homa Bay. It is approximately 2 hours from Moroni. The elderly woman has been ailing for years now, and she can hardly take herself to hospital. Admission at the St. Vincent's de Paul Mission Hospital would be ideal for her, but poverty has ravaged her dear life. She is suffering from organ ailment due to a disease called lung fibrosis. Her lungs are severely damaged and she is progressively becoming short of breath. Because of the acute exacerbations, Doris Ogira is in urgent need of a ventilator. Her home is in a very remote area which has no electricity and solar panels that would run the ventilator. An oxygen tank would help her, but she would not be able to pay 5,000 shillings monthly to refill the oxygen. She has been visited by nurses from the cancer unit at Homa Bay Referral Hospital, but the visits are far in between.
The
sickness started in 2017. My body was aching. I had really high fever. My feet would get heavy and numb. I also had headaches.
Doris is constantly surrounded by family members, mostly her grandchildren. Access to food seems to be their biggest challenge.
How we eat is a problem. I beg, and sometimes my friends bring food while visiting me. That is how they helped.
At the Homa Bay County Referral Hospital, this small palliative unit is meant to handle thousands of patients ailing from cancer and other chronic illnesses. Karen Kasera is the head of the palliative care unit.
This is the cancer center, which involves cancer screening, palliative care. We have not started giving chemotherapy, but we are almost. And in this room, this is where we do our counseling. And counseling, we do to all patients with palliative cases. So when they come, we have patients who need palliative counseling. In palliative, we do physical management of pain. We also do psychosocial, and we also do spiritual care.
Alfred Abich is one of the patients who attends clinic here. He is suffering from cancer. He is bitter that the diagnosis came very late into the advanced stages of the disease.
I want to blame squarely the medic people, because when I started feeling bad, I didn't know that I was having cancer. But they kept on giving me a lot of drugs without investigating what could be the problem with me, until it was very late. When I was feeling very, very bad, I went to a private clinic upper town. It's when I got a CEO there who advised me that what you should do, you go for further checkup. Go for MRI, go for CT scan, so that they can rule out what could be the problem.
Alfred was a health worker at the referral hospital before he retired. He wonders how many patients have lost their lives because of poor medical diagnosis.
When the result came out, they found that I'm having prostate cancer stage 3. Somebody can come from the rural area to the hospital and be mismanaged. And that one, you don't blame that person now. You blame the medics. Because like my case, if I could have got it earlier enough, it could have not reached with me in this stage.
And if it is not misdiagnosis, it is ignorance that is causing the death of many others in the villages.
Very many people still think that it is a curse. When you have a cancer disease, it is a curse. But the learned people like us, you know, I was working in the hospital, I retired at 2014. Although I really don't know the real causes of cancer, but I don't relate it to the one that people think at home, that is accursed, or it is something that is brought by other people.
This palliative care unit receives at least 5 new cases every week, a figure that worries medics here.
Palliative patient, if they are 1 or 2, we sit with them here and then we give them health education. The main aim of palliative care is to improve the quality of life of our patients and their family, and we encourage them. At a given time, they tend to come with their family so that at least they understand what the patient feels and how to manage this patient at home. Sometimes, if it is not so hard, we tend to visit them at home to reduce that movement to the hospital.
Cyprian Adoyo is a grandmother of 5. She is a sole guardian after all her 5 children passed away due to what she termed a strange disease.
On
the 5, the last born, who is the 5th born, they are kufa accident. But the rest, they just died. The ailing kidogo, then they died.
We are taken to the ward where the little girl is receiving treatment. She is sitting upright, but we can't help but notice her swollen belly. She appears frail.
Is pleading with the government if they can be helped, people with psychosocial, so that they get that free treatment and the drugs.
For many patients with chronic illnesses, medication alone is not the key to helping them remain positive in life. Many have found themselves joining support and peer groups in order to fight these troublesome diseases together.
All right, sawa sawa.
The Eldoret Hospice plays host to several such groups. Violet Shunza has had colon cancer for several years now.
So in 2016, when it got worse, I was treated, first of all, for many other diseases, ulcers, H. pylori, amoeba, and then they didn't quite get the disease. And when the results came back and the CT scan result came back, they said I had a condition called pelvic abscess. So they said I'll just go to theatre and have an operation and they would clear the abscess. But when I went to theatre and the surgeons operated on me, they found that I had a colon mass. So they had to call in the general surgeon who had to finish up the operation. So what they did, actually, they did a diversion of my bowel movements. So I could not go to the loo the normal way.
A colostomy is an operation that creates an opening for the colon or large intestine through the abdomen. Having a life-changing surgery made Violet uncomfortable at the beginning, but gradually she accepted her condition and now champions a cancer group called Kumbatia Cancer.
But last year, for some reason, I developed obstruction and my colostomy bag was not active anymore. So I went back to theatre again. I would say it's just unfortunate for me, so I went back to theatre. But lucky for me, the doctors reversed. They reversed my colostomy, and now I'm able to go to the bathroom the normal way. But then again, I had to repeat chemotherapy after the surgery because the doctors identified some lymph nodes that they said were active with cancer.
Violet is not alone in this group. Diana too had a colostomy procedure.
They lastly said, you have cancer of the colon, stage 3. I didn't even know how to react. When you tell somebody, I have cancer, the first thing is, wow, poorly. Because they're looking at you like you are soon going to die. So when I was going for the chemo, of course, abortions are everywhere. There is a day I cried from Bungoma to Eldoret, the hospital.
Very few hospices in the country provide complete home care for patients with chronic illnesses. The home care includes admission, feeding programs, education, psychosocial support, as well as spiritual nourishment. During lunchtime at Kimbilio Hospice, caregivers wash the hands of children and the elderly persons. The children are served first by this compassionate group of nurses. The elderly too will be given their portions, but nearly all the patients have to be fed.
Sensitization has been a problem, but over this period of time, there is awareness. We have had those people who come here, they go and spread the message.
317 kilometers from Eldoret town is Nyeri County in Central Province. Rachel Githigia, who hails from Karatina, is a frequent visitor at the Nyeri Hospice. At first, she assumed that she was the only patient ailing from colon cancer. Subsequently, she required surgery.
Nilianza kusikia symptoms on 2014 December. Nikaenda wakanituma Madhari, nikapigwa pisha, nikarudisha huku PGH. Sasa nikafanywa operation huko March 2015. Nilikuwa nadhani ni mimi peke yangu na niko na hiyo shida. Lakini nilipokuja huku nikakutana na wagonjwa wengine, alafu na sisi wenye nilikuta hapa wakawa ni wazuri sana. Sasa vile tu moto yao iko anasema comfort is there and there always. Kwa hivyo kila wakati nilipokuwa nakuja huku nilikuwa napata nguvu mpya.
Ile tunaweka kwa patient the gum itself.
She says the colostomy bag has been her savior ever since she learned using it.
Sometimes we have to take things on the positive side. Juu sasa huwa anasema sasa tukienda pahali tupewe chakula iwe ilikuwa mbaya, watu wote wanakimbia msarani. Lakini kama mimi niko na colostomy bag yenye ni comfortable, hawataniona nikikimbia. Kwa hivyo nitakaa tu na hawatajua shida yangu. The nurses here are very understanding. Sasa mkiongea na wao, wanakusikiza, wanasikiliza shida zako, na vile vyote wanaweza kufanya wakusaidia, wanakusaidia. Wanakupatia ushauri pole pole, hata kama ulikuwa na self denial unaitikia ni wewe, na sasa unaweza kuendelea na maisha.
Several kilometers from the Nyeri Hospice is Kahiga village in the outskirts of Nyeri town. This is the homestead of 61-year-old Martha Wamboi, a mother of two. One of her children is an able-bodied young man in his mid-20s. The other one is a girl, Elizabeth Modhoni, now a 31-year-old who lost her eyesight.
Aligonjeka akiwa na miezi 9. Na ugonjwa ambao walikuwa wanamtibu madaktari alikuwa anatimbiwa meningitis. Baada ya kutibiwa muda mrefu, sasa akawa macho yake hawezi akaona, pia miguu sasa ikawa imeshika kwa magoti.
Elizabeth's challenges were compounded when 6 years ago she was sexually assaulted at home.
Alinajisiwa na mtu ambaye simjui. Wakati najua mimi mtu wa kibarua, wakati hilo naondoka kwenda kibarua kutoka asubuhi saa 2 mpaka saa 11, tulikuwa tutoka saa 11 ama saa 8 saa 9 hapo. Sasa na mtu mwovu ambaye alijua ni mahali na ikafungua, manake ni kufunga na kuficha ndani ya mahali popote.
Kwa hivyo wakati huo ulikuwa unafunga nyumba unamwacha?
Namwacha. Naondoka manake anataka kula, kuvaa, ingawaje hakusoma. Ndugu zake wanasoma na ni lazima niwatafutie karo na mavazi. Sasa ndio sababu nilikuwa natoka, lakini kwa wakati usiwezi nikaenda mahali popote.
Modhoni gave birth to a little boy, but sadly, he too is mentally ill. According to nurses, the boy is autistic and also has cerebral palsy. At the age of 6, he can hardly walk by himself and only utters a few words, mostly of the things he like.
Kuzungumza lakini maneno anaeleweka, kama sasa hivi anasema nataka keki anaeleweka, lakini ana miaka sasa anaelekea miaka 6. Jukumu hili naye sasa ni ngumu sana, manake mama hawezi akatoka kitanda na mshughulikia akiwa kwa kitanda. Mtoto naye pia ni wa kushughulikiwa, kutembea ni lazima nimshikilie hivi. Kwenda mahali mbali ama kutafuta riziki siwezi. Manake ni watu wa kuhudumiwa wote wawili. Hakuna ambaye anaweza mwingine, wala mamake hawezi ajiwezi ati anaweza chunga mtoto wake.
Palliative care nurses from the Nyeri Hospice have come to her aid, but only just.
Wamechukua jukumu ya mavazi hivi, pampers na chakula, hata wakipata chakula kidogo hivi wananiletea. yani yani wakipata kidogo hivi wananiletea kidogo ya siku 2 siku 3 hivi. Saa ingine therapy yenyewe naambiwa nirudi siku fulani, saa ingine nakosa hata tikiti. Sasa kama nikipata watu watajitolea wao wakimsaidia shule, apate shule ambayo atapelekwa ndio awe akisomea boarding hivi, ndio pengine afanyizwe mazoezi, kutembea na mambo mengine ya baadaye, maisha yake yawe pengine atakuwa nafuu kushinda pengine ya mamake. Nikipata hata watu wataweza nisaidia hivi, nipate angalau katangi kidogo hivi, niwe nikipanda mboga hivi, ndio niwe nikipata mboga kidogo ya kula, badala kwenda soko kila siku. Kama wakati huu saa ingine hata wanalala njaa, wanashinda njaa. Kama saa leo unasikia nakitisha keti, hajakula chochote tangu asubuhi.
We leave Martha's house broken-hearted and with questions lingering over our heads. Just who else could take care of the likes of Martha? East of Nyeri, in the neighboring county of Meru, there is a village known as Kisima. A few meters on this dusty road is the home of Mzee Isaac Kinyua and his family. This is Masi Kajuju, who is in her late 40s. She is the youngest daughter of Mzee Isaac and his wife Florence. Both Masi and Florence are ailing from cervical cancer.
Ugonjwa wenyewe ulinianzia 2017. Nikakaa sikujua. Wakati nilijua ni wakati nilianza kumbleed. Bleeding ilianzia huku usiku, alafu nikatoka huko nikaenda na General, nikaandimetiwa huko mwezi mmoja. Kutoka hapo nikapona nikarundi. Baada ya mwezi mmoja nikarundi huko tena na nyuki. Daktari wakaniona, wakanihudumia. Alafu wakaona wanitume Kenyatta.
Her father has been like a rock, offering all the support they needed, but it has not been easy. He has contemplated suicide severally.
Mama alianza kugonjeka 2013, akachikwa ni high blood pressure. Kujua hatukuwa najua, tuampeleka na nyuki, anaenda General, hata akaanza kuenda kliniki na kupewa mandawa. Saa ile inaanza kuwa control, ameanza kazi yake mzuri kidogo. Ndio huyu tena amegonjeka tena. Mama 2020 kama miezi za ni kama Novemba hivi, akaanza kutoa damu. Tuni akaniambia, kauliza sasa na mama, miaka ile yote uliwaza hii ni nini hii? Sasa hii mandawa yote wanapeananga, kama si hawa ningekuwa nimeshindwa, ndio naomba Mungu hata niage. Hizi waombe wage, niage niwache kuona hiyo maneno.
Currently, Mercy is still under medication. Since being introduced to the Laikipia hospice, this family has become somewhat peaceful.
Hata ikiwa ni usiku nimesikia naumwa na tumbo, namuita na Livasco awezi anachukua simu yangu. Asubuhi ya mapema tunaonea hapa wote, wanakuja. Wakikuja wanatuletea chakula kwa gari pamoja na dawa. Wanatundumia vyema.
Hiyo hospice yote nawaambia Mungu kabisa, wale wanawasaidia, kwa sababu kama sio hawangekuwa hai. Na kuambia ukweli wa Mungu. Mimi ni mtu wa miaka 74 na siwezi ongea uongo.
But recently we've seen when we confine our home visits to only twice in a week, the patients are suffering because they're very critical patients. Somebody may need a drip on Wednesday, somebody may need a drip on Friday, on a Sunday. So we are open. when there is emergency, we are on the road. We do not have a Tuesday, we do not have a Thursday. It is full-time job because there is need in the community.
The medication given to this family is free. Unlike a hospital where one has to visit a doctor for consultations before heading to the pharmacy and part with thousands of shillings, this family has not paid a single cent, including the visits by the nurses.
Some of this is treatable. You know, in first stage, second stage, even third stage, it's treatable. So we don't wait until it is in fourth stage to do palliative care, because it's not about death and bereavement. It's about improving the quality of life from the day of the diagnosis of this patient, whichever stage it is. So we do not only go to the very ill ones, we walk the journey, even with the ones who look just like us.
Mzee Isaac is an ardent dairy farmer. Every morning and evening, he tends to his remaining animals. But what saddens him is that one day, all that he owns will vanish the day his wife and daughter require hospitalization, or they do not recover fully from cancer.
Hii shamba yangu ilikuwa inajaa miti. Iliisha. Ng'ombe. Wakati hiyo nilikuwa nachukua hiyo loan, nilikuwa na ndoni ngapi? 3. Inalipa.